The sun was dying behind the broken hills, turning the battlefield into a place of cold shadows and red dust. Smoke drifted like dead curtains across the ruined ground. Metal parts, broken weapons, and burned machines lay everywhere. Nothing moved. Nothing lived. It looked like the place itself had stopped breathing, but something was still alive. Under a fallen transport plate, an alien woman struggled to move her hand. Her name was Lyra, a warrior of the Kareth people. Her armor was cracked, her skin covered in gray sand, and her breaths came slow and painful. She tried to lift herself, but her body trembled and fell again. Her army had left this place hours ago. They believed all injured soldiers were beyond saving. Lyra knew this. She knew they would not return. She whispered weakly, "I don't want to die alone." Her voice was so soft that even the dust did not move with it. She tried again to crawl out, pushing the metal plate from her leg. Every small movement felt like a knife cutting inside her chest. Her eyes closed for a moment, and she felt darkness pull at her mind. She fought to stay awake because she feared that if she closed her eyes again, they might never open. That was when she heard it, the sound of boots crushing the gravel. Lyra froze. Her heart jumped once, painfully. She knew that sound. Heavy, slow, deliberate. Not Kareth. Not her people. Human. She tried to grab her blade, but her hand only touched sand. She did not even have the strength to sit. All she could do was lie there, breathing like a dying flame. The steps came closer, 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 through the smoke. A tall figure appeared, broad shoulders. Dark armor, a human rifle hanging at his side. She could not see his eyes, but she could feel his presence, strong, calm, dangerous. She thought he had come to finish survivors. She thought this was the end. The human stopped beside her broken body. He did not raise the gun. He did not speak. He knelt slowly, placing one knee on the dusty ground. His helmet's visor reflected her fading face. Lyra felt fear turn her blood cold. Then she felt something warm, his hand touching her shoulder. Gentle, steady, careful. This confused her more than fear. Humans were enemies. Humans were cruel. Humans never showed mercy, but this one was different. He removed his helmet. His face was young but tired, eyes brown and calm. He looked at her not like an enemy, but like a person. She tried to speak, but only a dry whisper came out. "Why are you here?" He looked at her wounds. Blood soaked her side. Her breathing was uneven. "My name is Eli," he said softly. "I'm here because you're alive." She did not understand. Alive? So what? War made life cheap. He checked her pulse, pressed cloth to her wound, and Lyra winced in pain. He didn't stop. He kept working with hands steady from training and heart steady from something deeper. She weakly asked, "Why?" "Mercy?" Eli paused for a moment before answering. "Because no one deserves to die alone." Her vision blurred. The world tilted. The shadows grew long over the battlefield. Eli lifted her carefully, his arms shaking. She was heavier than she looked, her armor damaged but still built from dense alien material. He staggered once under her weight, but did not let go. Lyra could feel his heartbeat. Against her arm, strong, human, warm. It was strange, comforting, terrifying. She wanted to fight him. But no strength remained. He carried her through the smoking ruins, away from the silent dead. His breath grew heavy, but he did not stop. After a long time, she saw the shape of a small human shelter, hidden between broken rocks. Inside, the light was warm. The air did not smell like burning engines. There was no fear in this place. Eli laid her gently on a small metal bed. Her head rested on a folded jacket. He took out a medical kit and placed it beside her. "You'll be okay," he said. His voice was calm, but she could hear worry in it. Lyra blinked slowly, trying to stay awake. "You should have left me. Like my people did." Eli's jaw tightened. That's not how humans work. Not all of us. He began cleaning her wounds with careful hands. Lyra hissed in pain, but he continued, focused. He wrapped bandages around her side, injected a stabilizer, and checked her breathing again. With every touch, Lyra's fear changed into something softer. Something she didn't have a name for, but the treatment took too long. Her body was failing faster than he could help it. Her vision went dark at the edges. "Stay with me," Eli said. "Come on, stay awake." She tried. Truly tried. But her mind felt like it was sinking into cold water. She looked at him one last time. A human enemy. Trying so hard to save her. It did not make sense. But maybe. Mercy did not need to make sense. "I don't want to," she whispered. He leaned close. "Don't want to what?" "Die alone." Her eyes closed. Her breathing stopped. The monitor beside her bed showed a flat line, silent, cold, final. Eli froze. His eyes widened. He shook her shoulder gently. "Lyra, hey Lyra, stay with me." Nothing. He pressed 2 fingers to her neck. "No pulse. No, not like this," he said, his voice breaking for the first time. He placed his hands on her chest and started compressions. She did not move. He tried again. And again. Sweat ran down his face. His breaths turned sharp and frantic. "Come on," he whispered. "Come back." The monitor stayed flat. Her skin turned cold. Her hand dropped off the bed. He stopped moving. The silence felt heavier than the battlefield outside. He looked at her still face, and something in his own face cracked pain, frustration, a quiet grief. He bowed his head. "I tried. I'm sorry." He reached forward and closed her eyes gently with his fingers. The shelter light flickered once, casting long shadows across her body. And at that exact moment, the monitor beeped. Once. Then again. Eli's head shot up. Her chest rose slightly. Weak. Very weak. But alive. He gasped, grabbed the oxygen mask, and placed it on her face. Good, stay with me," he said quickly. Color returned slowly to her skin. Her fingers twitched. Her breathing came back in small, struggling breaths. Eli sat beside her, exhausted but relieved. "You're not dying today," he whispered. She did not wake, but a small tear rolled down her cheek, maybe from pain. Or maybe from hope. Outside, night was falling across the war-torn land. Inside, for the first time in her life, Lyra felt something she had never felt before: mercy, and she had felt it from a human. The night outside the small human shelter was cold and sharp, the kind that made even metal tremble. Wind moved across the dead battlefield like a slow whisper. Inside, only one sound repeated again and again, the soft, weak beeping of the monitor keeping Lyra alive. Eli sat beside her, elbows on his knees, eyes fixed on her face. Her breathing was shallow, almost too small to hear, but it was there. After pulling her back from death, he had not moved from her side. He could not. He felt responsible for her survival in a way he did not understand. Her skin was still pale, her armor cracked, her wounds deep. She looked fragile, nothing like the strong alien warrior he expected to meet in battle. She looked lost. Hours passed. Eli cleaned his tools, checked her pulse, and adjusted the blankets around her to keep her warm. He didn't know why he cared so much. She was supposed to be his enemy, but nothing about her felt like an enemy now. She was just a life, one that deserved a chance. He leaned back against the cold wall and closed his eyes for a moment, and then he heard it, a soft sound, almost like a breath catching. He opened his eyes quickly. Lyra's fingers twitched. Her eyelids moved slightly. Her lips parted as if trying to speak but too weak to form words. Eli leaned forward. "Lyra, can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered, then slowly opened. They were cloudy with pain and confusion. She blinked once, twice, trying to understand where she was. Her chest rose with a weak breath. "Where?" she whispered, but her voice was too soft, like a fading echo. "You're safe," Eli said gently. "You're inside my shelter. I patched you up. You stopped breathing for a moment, but you came back." Her eyes shifted to him, slow and heavy. She looked at his face for a long moment, as if trying to decide if this was real. Confusion turned into a quiet shock. "You saved me?" she asked. "Yes," he said simply. Her eyes closed briefly, overwhelmed. "Why?" Eli hesitated. He didn't know the real answer. Or maybe the answer was too simple. "Because you needed help," he said. "And I was here." Lyra's throat tightened. Her people believed humans were merciless. She grew up hearing stories of human brutality. But this human had carried her, fought for her life, and stayed by her side for hours. Her hand moved slightly, reaching for something she couldn't see. Eli understood and gently placed his hand above hers, not touching, just close enough so she knew she wasn't alone. "You're going to be okay," he told her softly. She watched him through tired eyes. Her breathing was weak but steady now. She tried to sit up, but pain shot through her side, and she collapsed back. "Easy," Ella said quickly, supporting her shoulders. "You lost a lot of blood. Don't push yourself." She sighed weakly. "Your people. They will kill me if they find me." Eli's jaw tightened. "Not if I'm here." Lyra looked at him with a mixture of disbelief and something deeper, trust beginning to grow slowly, like a small flame in darkness. He brought a cup of warm broth to her lips. "Drink, just a little." She hesitated, but accepted it. The warmth spread through her body, and she felt strength return, tiny but real. Eli saw her eyes soften slightly. "Better?" "Yes," she whispered. Hours passed with quiet conversation and long silences. Ailey told her about the shelter, the war, and how he found her under the metal plate. Lyra listened carefully, trying to understand the human who should have been her enemy. She finally said, "My people left me to die." Eli looked at her with sadness. "I'm sorry." Lyra gave a bitter smile. "You show more care than my own army." He didn't know what to say. So he simply replied, "You're not alone anymore." A soft silence fell between them, gentle, almost peaceful, but peace did not last long. Outside, something cracked a branch, a footstep. A piece of metal moving. Eli stood up immediately. He moved to the window and carefully lifted the edge of the cloth covering it. His eyes narrowed. Two figures were moving in the darkness, shaped by moonlight, human soldiers, but not from his unit. They wore rough armor, scavenger gear, rebel scouts. He turned to Lyra. "We have company." Fear flashed in her eyes. "They will kill me on sight." Eli grabbed his rifle quietly. "I won't let them." He helped her lie flat and covered her with a dark blanket to hide her silhouette. Then he lifted part of the floor panel, revealing a small storage space underneath. "Go down there," he whispered. "Stay quiet. No matter what happens." Lyra looked at him with panic. "They will kill you too." "Let me worry about that," he said with a small, steady smile. She hesitated. Her heart pounded painfully. But she listened. She slid slowly into the hidden space, biting back a groan of pain. Eli lowered the panel carefully and placed a crate over it. The shelter became silent again. Moment later, a loud knock shook the door. "Open up." A rough voice demanded. Eli took a slow breath, steadied his heartbeat, and opened the door. 3 armed soldiers stood outside, flashlights cutting through the dim room. Their leader stepped forward. "You're far from your unit," the man said suspiciously. "What are you doing out here?" "Shelter repair," Eli replied calmly. Radio went down. The leader's eyes scanned the room. His flashlight stopped on the blood-stained cloths near the bed. "That looks like fresh blood." Eli's heart pounded. "My own," he lied. Had a small fight with a stray drone. The soldier stepped closer, eyes sharp. You sure? Because we're tracking an alien survivor. She escaped the battlefield. Could be hiding anywhere. Eli kept his face neutral. Haven't seen anyone. The leader walked past him, scanning the room carefully. Lyra, under the floor, struggled to stay silent. She could hear their boots above her. The darkness around her felt tight. She pressed a hand against her mouth to control her breathing. The flashlight beam moved across the floor, across the bed, across the walls. Then stopped near the crate covering her hiding place. The leader kicked the crate aside. Eli's stomach dropped. Lyra felt her heart freeze. The soldier bent down and looked closely at the floor panel. Then he stood up again. Strange, he muttered. Thought I heard something. Eli forced a laugh. Just the wind. The place creaks. The leader stared at him for a long, uncomfortable moment. Then he nodded slowly. Fine, but we'll check around the area. If you see the alien, report it. Eli nodded. Of course. The soldiers stepped outside, but the leader paused in the doorway. He looked back at Eli with narrowed eyes. You're not hiding anything. Are you? Eli held his breath. No, nothing. The leader stared for another second too long, then finally stepped away. Eli shut the door and locked it. He leaned against it, breathing hard. His legs felt weak from the tension. He quickly returned to the hidden floor, lifted the panel, and looked down. Lyra lay there, shaking from fear and pain. He reached his hand toward her. It's safe now. Come on. She weakly took his hand and he helped her up. When she stood, her legs trembled and she fell forward. Eli caught her instantly, holding her close to keep her steady. You protected me, she whispered. And I always will, Eli replied softly. Her eyes met his, full of emotion and disbelief. No human had ever spoken to her like that. No human had ever risked their life for her. A silent promise hung between them, one stronger than war, stronger than fear. Lyra leaned her head weakly against his chest. Exhausted. Eli placed a steady hand on her back, outside. The enemy scouts moved farther away, inside. Two lives once enemies stood side by side in a fragile peace, and neither of them knew that the worst danger was still coming. The night felt heavier now. The shelter walls seemed thinner, the cold wind louder, and every distant sound made Eli tighten his grip on his rifle. He kept glancing toward the door, expecting the scavenger soldiers to return at any moment. Lyra stood beside him, weak and shaking, but alive. Her breathing was soft, and every movement made pain shoot through her body. Yet something inside her had changed. She did not feel abandoned anymore. She did not feel forgotten. She felt protected. But danger was closing in fast. Eli helped her sit on the bed. You need rest, he whispered. Lyra looked up at him, eyes tired but strong. And you need help. I'll manage. She reached out and touched his arm lightly, a gesture so small, yet full of meaning. You saved my life twice, she said softly. I owe you more than rest. Eli shook his head. You don't owe me anything. Lyra held his gaze. I owe you everything. A quiet moment passed between them, warm and human, then the world shattered. Boom! A loud explosion thundered outside the shelter. Dust fell from the ceiling. Eli jumped in front of Lyra immediately, shielding her with his body. What was that? She gasped. Eli checked the window. His blood turned cold. 4 military light trucks were pulling up to the shelter. Searchlights swept across the ground. Human scavenger soldiers jumped out, weapons ready. They found us, Eli said. Lyra's heart raced. What will they do? Eli clenched his jaw. They'll kill you. And they'll kill me for hiding you. Before either of them could react, bang. Bang! Bang! Fists slammed on the door. Open up. The leader shouted. We know you're hiding the alien." Lyra trembled. Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. "Stay behind me. Do not come out unless I say." "No," she whispered. "They will kill you. Let me handle it." The door shook again under another heavy kick. Lyra grabbed his sleeve. "Eli, don't die for me." He turned to her with a steady look. "I didn't save you to let them take you now." Her eyes burned with emotion. He stepped toward the door. Lyra's breath caught. She needed strength. She needed to protect him. But her body felt too weak. Her wounds pulsed with pain. Her vision swam. Bang! The door cracked. Eli raised his rifle. The door burst open. 4 soldiers stormed inside, guns aimed. Eli fired one warning shot, forcing them to duck behind the doorframe. Lyra held the bedframe with trembling hands. She could not let him fight alone. Not again. Not after everything he had done. A soldier threw a flash grenade inside. Eli yelled, "Cover your eyes." But Lyra was too slow. To HWUMP-flash. White light exploded through the room. Lyra cried out, falling to her knees. Eli staggered back, eyes burning. The soldiers rushed in again. Eli fired blindly, hitting one soldier in the leg. Another soldier ran into him, pinning him to the wall. "Where is the alien?" The leader shouted. Eli punched him across the face, but another soldier grabbed Eli's arms and twisted them painfully. Lyra forced her vision to clear. She saw Eli struggling one man against 3. Her chest tightened. Her hands shook. Her heart beat fast. She would not let him die. Not after the mercy he had shown. Not after he became the only person who refused to leave her behind. A deep instinct rose inside her, rage mixed with protection. Fear mixed with strength. She slowly pushed herself up. Every muscle screamed in pain, but she did not stop. She stumbled toward the fight, holding onto whatever she could. Through blurry eyes, she saw one soldier raise a gun to Eli's head. Her heart stopped. Something inside her broke. "No!" She screamed. Her voice felt like it ripped open the air. With the last reserve of her energy, she lunged forward and tackled the soldier from behind. Her strength surprised even herself. The man fell, dropping the gun. Eli took his chance, kicking the second soldier into a wall. The leader swung at Lyra, hitting her in the jaw. She fell back, tasting blood, dizzy but alive. Eli punched the leader across the face, knocking him down. 2 soldiers remained conscious, trying to stand. Lyra grabbed a fallen rifle, using it as a staff. She could barely breathe, but she forced her body to move. She swung the rifle across a soldier's face. He collapsed instantly. The last soldier tried to escape, but Eli pinned him to the ground. The fight ended in seconds. Silence returned. Heavy and shocked. Eli leaned against the wall, exhausted. Lyra dropped the rifle and fell to her knees. "You came out," he said, breathing hard. "I told you," she whispered, shaking. "I will not let you die for me." Eli walked to her and helped her stand. She leaned against him, barely conscious. "You saved me this time," he said softly. A weak smile touched her lips. "We save each other." Before they could rest, they heard gunfire far away. More soldiers were on their way. Eli looked outside. "We can't stay. We need to move." Lyra nodded slowly. She didn't have the strength to walk far, but she trusted Eli to guide her. He put her arm over his shoulder and wrapped his own arm around her waist. Together, they limped out of the shelter into the cold night. The sky glowed with distant burning fires. Smoke covered the stars. The wind was sharp, carrying the sound of marching troops. Lyra's legs trembled. Eli pulled her closer. "Just a little more. Stay with me." "I'm trying," she whispered. They reached the forest line where tall metallic trees bent like tired giants. The shadows were deep, the ground uneven, the air cold. Lyra stumbled again, almost falling. Eli lifted her with his one good arm, carrying her the rest of the way. "You don't have to carry me," she whispered weakly. "Yes," he said, breathless. "I do." Her eyes softened. "Why?" Eli looked down at her, his voice quiet but full of truth. "Because mercy is something we give without reason." Lyra closed her eyes, not in pain this time, but in deep emotion. The leader. They reached a hidden cliff overlooking a wide valley. At the far end, bright lights flashed. Human evacuation ships were landing. Eli's breath caught. "We're close." But Lyra shook her head. "If they see me, they will execute me. Not if I explain. They will not listen." Eli turned her face toward him gently. "Then I will make them listen." She sighed. "Why do you care so much?" Eli brushed a strand of her silver hair away from her eyes. "Because when I found you, you were dying, and now, I don't want to lose you." Her heartbeat trembled. She reached toward his hand and held it tightly. "And I will not leave you, human or not." Together, they walked toward the bright lights of the rescue ships. The soldiers at the checkpoint raised their rifles. "Identify!" Eli shouted. Human soldier Eli Ward, bringing an injured non-hostile survivor. The soldiers hesitated. "She's an alien. She could be a threat." Lyra stood tall, though her legs shook. "I fought. I feared. I suffered. But today, a human saved me twice." The commander narrowed his eyes. "Why would he do that?" Lyra looked at Eli, then back at the humans. "Because he showed me mercy. A mercy I want to return." The commander studied them both. Then slowly lowered his gun. "Bring her in." Relief washed over Lyra and Eli at the same time that Eli supported her as they walked toward the ship ramp. At the top, before entering, Lyra stopped and looked at him with soft, grateful eyes. "You showed me what mercy feels like," she whispered. "And because of you, I want to live again." Eli smiled gently. "Then live with me." They stepped inside the rescue ship. Enemy and enemy no more. Two souls tied by kindness, beginning something new beyond war. HFY. Humanity wins because humanity cares.